Hi everyone, I'm Shelly. Greetings from the patio. I hope that everyone is doing well this afternoon. Just sitting out here, was having a little bite of late lunch and doing a little work. And I was just thinking about how good God is and the goodness of God. And in thinking about all of that, I was thinking about the last few years of my life and some things that I've been through. I'm coming up on 2 years with Keller Williams as a real estate agent. And I remember this time about 2 years ago, I was praying and asking everyone to pray that I would pass my real estate exam, my state exam. And so a lot has transpired since then. But I was thinking about 4 years ago, I had decided to end my teaching career. And I didn't know what road I was going to take from that point. But I remember sitting on my couch and just kind of praying, or really just kind of crying out to God and telling God, my heart's desire is to be a stay-at-home mom. And I'm a single mom. And being single, you can't really be a stay-at-home mom. And so I was really just kind of pouring my heart out to God about that. And over the course of the next few years, God just kind of made a way for me to be a stay-at-home mom. And from that point to this point, I would say I have come through a lot of difficulties and trials and struggles, but looking back on it, God was always there for me. He never left me, and He honestly made a way for me where a lot of times I didn't see a way. But and real estate was one of those ways. It's been really good. But now I'm at a place where I'm about to start another business in addition to that. And I was just kind of talking to God about what I have learned from real estate that I can apply towards this new business. And one of the things which is very important is during all of the past few years, my trust and my faith in God has really grown. I couldn't have, come through what I did without my faith in God. But God reminded me of something that I learned in real estate, something that He showed me on a listing appointment. And I'd kind of like to share that with you. I went on this listing appointment. This gentleman had called me just kind of out of the blue. Didn't know how he got my name or my number or whatever, but I just considered that the favor of the Lord. And so I did the cost market analysis on his property, and I did all my homework, and I really prepared for this listing appointment. And I went thinking, okay, this is the favor of God, and I'm gonna get this listing. So I go and kind of drive around the neighborhood before the appointment and realize it's a 1970s neighborhood, and the majority of the homes are not updated and they're not very well maintained. And but scattered throughout the neighborhood, there's a few homes that are very well maintained and nice properties. And so I drive up to his house, and he has a manicured yard, and his 1970s style home is kind of a split level home. Looks very nice on the outside. It has a pool and a deck. And I look over to the yard, and right up against his fence, the neighbor has a very old shed or shack, I would call it, with a very old rustic, car parked right up against his fence. And so I thought, oh, that's not good. But I go and I step up on his porch and meet him, and we talk there for a minute, and then I go inside his home. and I was completely blown away. This man had completely remodeled and updated the entire inside of this home. He had things like a Viking gas stovetop and granite countertops and beautiful jetted tubs and tile work in the bathrooms, and just every amenity that you could imagine in a new home he had in his home. And so we sit down and we start looking at the CMA and doing some adjustments and things like that. And, you know, his price was still way up here and mine had come up a little, but, you know, I had to take into account the location and the surroundings. And so we talked for a little while, and he looks at me and he says, Shelly, he said, I just have to be honest with you. I'm having a harder time letting go of this house than I ever did any of my 4 wives. And I said, well, why is that? And he said, well, because I have so much of myself invested in this house. I have my time and my money and my effort, and I'm just having a really hard time letting go of it. And so we talked for a little while longer, and I told him, you know, I really feel your pain and I understand, you know, how you're feeling about it. But then I left. I left without the listing. And I got in my car, headed back down 78 and to my house, and I was just really, really disappointed. And so I just kind of said, you know, Lord, I'm so disappointed. And I said, I know you have to feel my disappointment. And so I just asked the Lord, I said, Lord, why did you let me have this listing and go on this listing appointment if I'm not even going to get the listing? And just like that, the Lord said, because I wanted to remind you of what a godly relationship looks like. And so immediately I heard the words again that the gentleman had said. He said, I'm having a harder time letting go of this house than I did any of my 4 wives. Why? Because I've invested so much of myself, my time and my money and my hard work into this home. And so I said, well, Lord, could you give me an example? And the Lord said, I'll give you an example. Your relationship with me. He said, when you are in relationship with me, you invest your time into this relationship. When you spend time in praise and worship, when you spend time in prayer, when you spend time reading my word, when you spend time in my presence just talking with me, and you invest your money into this relationship. Whenever you give an offering, whenever you give a tithe, or whenever you help some other family in a financial need, and you invest your effort into this relationship, any time that you serve others, that you volunteer in an organization, that you serve and prepare a meal for your family, that you take care of your elderly parents, that you go and help a neighbor who has a need, any of those types of things, when you do them unto them, you do them unto me. And so, you know, that was really a great reminder for me. And I think that could be applied to all types of relationships, personal relationships, family relationships, and even business work related relationships. I know I think about real estate and how my team leader and my broker have really invested their time and their money and their effort into me, and in that have helped me to better see how I can invest into my clients. But you know, on this particular day, I kind of asked the Lord, I said, well, you know, what is it that you really want me to get from this? And he said, I want to remind you of how valuable you are to me. And so he brought to my mind the 4 wives, and I knew in that he was talking to me about dating relationships. And so I'd just like to speak to those who are maybe in the dating world right now. And I would say to you that be encouraged. You are worthy of waiting for someone who values you enough to invest themselves fully in you, their time, their money, and their effort. And there would be those that will say, well, I'll not invest a full percentage. I'll just invest maybe my time, but I'll not invest my money, or I'll not invest my effort. And to those, you should just say, no, thank you, because you are worthy of a full 100% investment. And how I know this is God gave all of himself for you. He gave his only son just for you, that you might live and have life more abundantly. He invested 100% of himself into you. You are walking around with the Spirit of the living God on the inside of you. And that, my friends, makes you worthy of a 100% investment. I would just say to you that God wants all of your relationships, your spiritual relationship with him and your earthly relationships with others, to be connected and fruitful and blessed. And so I hope this encourages you today, and hope you have a blessed afternoon, and I'll see you back here on the patio again another day. Bye.